Okay, so welcome to the Parent Advocacy Resource Team for all ages and stages of parenthood. I'm Jillian Lama, founder of the Body You Crave Life and Weight Loss Coaching, and I'm today's host for this special guest. So, quick note about PART. We partner with parents to create a network of trusted professionals to provide families with solutions as they navigate this journey of life and being a family. We do this through education, advocacy, empowerment, and connection. So today we are talking with Lynda McDonell of PiqueProsperity, and I'm so jazzed that I get to do her interview. So Lynda is a financial coach, and she's the founder of PiqueProsperity. She works one-on-one with her clients to truly understand where their money is going and what's been holding them back in their personal and small business finances. She empowers them to take control of their money once and for all through debt reduction, creating a spending plan, and learning how to think differently and make better decisions with money every day. And I just have to say, I love that you call it a spending plan, because that's what I call my spending plan, is just that. And we'll get to this, I'm sure, a little bit more, but I even told my husband, and he teases me about this a little bit, of like, why can't I use the word budget? And I'm like, because I hate the word budget, and it makes me like my stomach tense up, and I'm like, oh, I'm terrible for spending and like eating food, versus no, this is a plan for what I'm going to spend. So
right.
What are your thoughts?
I love that. Well, it's funny because I'll use both words, because it depends on what word resonates with my client and resonates with people, right? Because sometimes people say, I don't like the B word, similar to someone who might say, I don't like the word diet. And that's okay, right? You have to think about, what is the word that inspires you to do the work? It's the same thing, right? But if the certain word creates certain thoughts in your head to do what you want to do, like a plan, it's very forward thinking. People, you see the word budget and they think it's very restrictive and very in the now, right? Plan is always looking ahead. And that is one of the things that I teach my clients to do. Is the now is important in terms of knowing where you're at, knowing your starting point. But what's really important is about understanding where you're going and the impact of the little things that you do each day, how they impact you down the road, whether it's next week, next month, next year.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So every parent realizes at some point in their journey that they have said something that they never thought they would have said before. So mine the other week was, how did you get cream cheese up your nose? And I was like, when did this happen? So, but everybody has these moments, and I think they're so fun to share, and just to kind of collaborate and to find humor in these moments as well. What was that moment for you?
Oh my gosh. That moment for me was when I taught my 4-year-old son how to use the remote to turn on the TV in the morning when he woke up so that mommy could keep sleeping. He used to wake up super early. And I remember saying, showing him where the remote was, like right beside the TV. This is what you need to do. Just push this button so that mommy can have some extra sleep.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Yes. And they survived. My kids survived.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They're not serial killers. It's okay.
No, they're well-adjusted young men. They're both in college. So they've done okay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So no matter what kind of crazy moments you may be experiencing as a parent, PART is here to help. So I want to just get started and learn a little bit more about you, Lynda, and how you got into this space, and what kind of prompted you to delve into this type of work that you do.
Oh, yes. I'd love to share that. So I started a few moons ago. I started my career as a CPA. So I was someone who was, always good with numbers. I was comfortable with numbers. But after a few years, when I got my designation, I wanted to feel closer to people. Like, when I was a CPA, I just didn't have that connection. So I moved to work in corporate finance for some companies, a large company like IBM. I worked for many years. But then my kids came along. And my husband and I made the choice, an unregrettable choice, for me to stay home with my kids. So I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. And when my kids got a little older and it was time for them to, fly the nest, I really wanted to find my passion. And also to show my kids that, you can totally go after what it is you want to do. And I didn't want to go back to what I used to do before because it didn't speak to me in the same way because I had evolved. And so after a lot of soul searching, after a lot of conversations with the people I loved about, what is it that you think I'm good at? They told me a few things. And then one day I had a girlfriend who came to me and we had always talked about money. I would just give her like one-off thoughts about it. And she said, Linda, will you coach me? And I was like, oh my gosh, I think that's what I want to do. And when I realized that I had the ability to help change the trajectory of someone's financial life by showing them things that they may never have seen before, it has just been so rewarding. It is so rewarding. There's things that we all have that we think may be easy, but other people find it more difficult. Yeah. And when we find that gift that we have, like I call it our superpower, when we find what our superpower is and we're able to share it with the world, that's when, things really unlocked for me anyways.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. And it's so encouraging too, to know that we can find our superpower, or I call it our zone of genius. And like, we can find what really lights us up. We can find that passion, no matter how old we are, that we can be successful in life with our kids, with the parenting, with careers, and with money, regardless of where we're at currently with our finances or what else might be going on in our life. So I think it's always interesting to talk with other entrepreneurs and people and just ask, like, what do people think you do versus what do you actually do in your business?
Oh, that's a great question. So what people often think I do is that I'm a financial advisor, so that I take people's money and I invest it. And I love financial advisors, by the way, but I actually work before that. So for example, I help people create the money in their life that they may then go to a financial advisor and invest, or they may save money for a vacation. They may be able to create money in their life to pay off debt. They may be able to create money in their life to open a business, like get out of a 9-to-5 and open a small business, or fund a child's college, savings. It could be whatever it is that is important to them. And it's really about, I work with their day-to-day life. So what's going through their head each day? What are their behaviors? What are their habits? What are their feelings about money? What is their identity when it comes to money? So a common thing would be someone will come to me and they'll say, I'm a saver and my husband's a spender. My spouse is a spender. And just by giving yourself that identity word, it creates thoughts in our head that maybe this is who we're always going to be. Whereas if you just reframe, instead of saying I'm a saver, it might be I am more comfortable saving, or I have a habit of spending. That doesn't then become your identity. It doesn't represent who you are. And it opens up the possibility and capability for you to be whoever you want to be.
Yes. So I myself have done so much work on my relationship with money and the money stories that I've had for a long time, because what I found is that in working with mostly women around food and body image, a lot of these thoughts and beliefs, whether it's around our money, around our body, around our worthiness and value, is so much of it is laid down when we're 5, 6, 7 years old. And so a lot of times it doesn't even feel like a conscious thought. It just feels very natural. It's definitely a fact. It's 100% true. You're going to have tons of evidence to support it. And I think that's the value of having a coach and somebody like Linda in your corner, is to help you see what is really like a true fact versus what is your thought or your interpretation, and how those may be holding you back instead of serving you. Because we can have some great thoughts about money, but we also can be trained and just picked up ideas and thoughts that don't serve us around money. And like, we could get off on so many tangents around money and Christianity, money and religion, like there's so many places that we can pick up, and just families, so much from like the Depression era that still carries over, I'm sure, around money that you see with your clients Because I see the same thing with food and food thoughts and food
I
scarcity
do.
with mine.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. I like to call it like a money lens. So we'll
Mhm.
talk about, what someone's history is with money, where they came
Mhm.
from with money, because that does create a lens through
Mhm.
which you see the world. Now, that's
Yeah.
not to say we can't clean the lens, we can't
Yeah.
change the shading of the lens, right? It's just a lens with which we see things. But when we understand that subconscious
Mhm.
thoughts and things that may go on when we think about money every day, that's really where it changes. Like a lot of people
Mhm.
think that they'll just come to me and I'm just going to hand them a budget.
Mhm.
Right. And we're talking the budget word, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that, because honestly, if it was that easy, then
Mhm.
we would all have our money figured out, right?
Mhm.
Where
Mhm.
the real meat is on figuring out what's going on with our money is really between our ears, right? How we
Mhm.
think about money, how money makes us feel. And
Mhm.
all of that is based on things that have happened in our past. And it's not about blaming what's happened in our past. A
Mhm.
lot of times it's our failures that really can vault us into another place, right?
Mhm.
Like if you don't know failure, you don't necessarily understand success, right?
Right.
So that's sometimes, if you look at it that way and you realize that, we learn from things maybe that haven't gone our way, but how do we can define ourselves by that, or we can then use that to create possibility and to change the way we look at our money every day, to create those little habits in our life. I have a 5-step process that I use with my clients,
Mhm.
but the objective is to create what I call financial self-trust. So it's
Yes.
about really understanding your money. It's in, you may have heard the term financial peace, which goes
Mhm.
around, which is about really setting yourself up so that the waters are calm.
Mhm.
And what I like to do is take it to the next level to say, no, it's not just about keeping the waters calm, because that has a bit of a thought of fear behind it.
Mhm.
Like, it's like, we got to
Mhm.
keep things calm because something bad
Mhm.
might happen. And
Yeah.
to me, it's like, no, I'm going to give you those financial muscles, right? So
Yes.
you become a powerhouse with your money, so that you have this, I like to think of it as like you're in a sound booth, like creating a song, and you have all these dials in front of you, and you know
Mhm.
exactly which dials to turn with your money when curveballs get thrown your way, because
Mhm.
it's going to happen. It's happening
Mhm.
right now,
Mhm.
right? We look around, there's a recession. That's not something we can control. But if you
Mhm.
have the financial self trust, you understand your money and you understand what you need to do or what is available to you. And then you can make the choices with your money, as opposed to feeling like
Mhm.
things are happening to you when it comes to
Mhm.
your finances.
Mhm. Yes. Oh my gosh. All the hands, all the
Mhm.
claps, all the yeses. Yeah. So, well, what can you share with our listeners then today to help them to take the first maybe 1 or 2 steps? What would that look like? What are your tips for getting started in this area?
Sure. Well, the first step that I would say is to have an awareness of where your money is at, right? A
Mhm.
lot of us do what I call bank balance bookkeeping, where the only money work that we do is to maybe pull up the app on our phone and say, okay, this is what my checking account balance is. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's how we judge, whether we're doing well or not.
Yeah.
And even that can be problematic, because we don't necessarily get paid every day. Right?
Right.
Many of us get paid once a month, semi-monthly, every other week. We may pay a mortgage once a month. So you've got
Right.
timing of expenses and income that are all over the place, that if you just look at
Yeah.
one number, it's going to cause, maybe a lot of unnecessary negative thoughts, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to your money. So just having that awareness of where you're at, where
Mhm.
your money is going, is a huge enlightening process for my clients when they start with me. And that's something that we do kind of right off the bat. And even just
Mhm.
that, they're like, oh my gosh, I've never actually just looked at my money.
Mhm.
It's really empowering for them. The other thing that I would say to think about when it comes to your money is look ahead, like create a
Mhm.
calendar. with your money for the entire year that just puts out all the things that are coming up with your money. Like there's a lot of things, like think of an Amazon Prime subscription that we might only pay once a year, or camps that we pay for our children that we pay at a certain time. If our kids are in sports or activities, sometimes in like the back to school time that tends to, it tends to get a little heavy. So just even the process of looking ahead in, kind of a calendar view as to what's coming up, it really just gives us that awareness as well of what's coming up for us in the next few months, as opposed to being reactive. It creates the possibility for us to be proactive with our money.
Yes. Oh, I love that. So good. Yeah. Because, and even things like Christmas presents, we don't often like think about and plan and budget. And my family, we're going to do Christmas at Disney World in like a year and a half. So Christmas of 2023. And I'm already talking to people and planning and getting into Facebook groups and looking at, okay, where do we want to spend time? Where do we put our money? What gives us the most bang for our buck without running ourselves ragged on vacation? Because I want this to be fun and relaxing and enjoyable. But also like thinking ahead of like, okay, this will be our big trip for next year. So, like just being mindful of where else are we trying to fit things in? We're not going to go to, on an international trip if we're going to also do this. Yeah.
Right. And you have the ability by being proactive is to answer that question. How do I afford it?
Absolutely. Right? Yes.
It's a huge mindset shift when I have clients that they're constantly in the, I can't afford it to the, how can I afford it? And you're changing a couple of words, right? But what it opens up for you is incredible, right? It gives you the ability to create a plan so that you can go to Florida and go to Disney. And when you get home, all you have is memories. You don't have a big credit card bill. Right. Yeah, because you have set aside the money and you can just live with the enjoyment, as opposed to, a lot of us, we enjoy and then it kind of gets sort of taken back because we have the frustration of maybe the credit card debt that we might be experiencing afterward.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That the Christmas hangover, the vacation hangover, like,
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. So if somebody is just loving what they're hearing and they want to connect with you more, where's the best place that they can reach you?
Okay. Well, the best place they can connect with me is through my website, which is www.PiqueProsperity.com, and Pique is spelled Pique. They can also reach me through Instagram, which is my handle is PiqueProsperity. I'm also on Facebook at PiqueProsperity. So any one of those three places I'm active on, and they can connect with me. And I do offer a 30-minute complimentary, no pressure consultation if you just want to talk. And figure out let's figure out what's going on with your money. And if, I'm not the right person to help you, I will certainly point you to who the right person is.
Fabulous. Yes. Thank you so much. And don't worry, for everybody listening or watching, all of the links will be in the description below. So make sure you check that out and definitely give Lynda some love. All right. So as we wrap up, we always like to finish with our best self-care tips. So what would be your best self-care tip for all of our parents out there?
My best self-care tip, well, two. My first self-care tip is every morning I step outside for just a moment and take in 3 deep breaths and let the sun get on my skin just for a minute. And then what I also do though, is I make sure I prioritize health and fitness in my schedule. So every day I try to get out for, about 30 minutes, whether it's a walk, I play tennis, Pilates. I really prioritize getting some movement for myself into my day.
Yes. I love that. So if you are watching, if you're on YouTube here, drop us a comment. What kind of movement can you add into your day, or what kind of movement can you plan for sometime this week or this weekend? It should be fun and enjoyable. It doesn't have to feel like punishment. So let us know, what are you doing to move your body? All right. Well, again, thank you so much for being here and for watching. We hope that you've enjoyed this series and have loved getting to know Lynda as much as I have. The Parent Advocacy Resource Team is a partner with parents to navigate this journey of life and being a family. We'll see you on the next video.